Have you ever wondered what it takes to truly transform leadership? Today, we're going to delve into powerful strategies with Nicole Cruz, exploring how to unlearn unconventional norms, connect with your deeper purpose, and embody a unique version of leadership. Get ready for insights that will reshape your approach to leading. Welcome to Leading Intentionally, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of leadership transformation. I am Carmen Paredes, your guide in this journey, and I'm so thrilled to have you with us today. In each episode, we share strategies, insights, and stories to help you drive growth, enhance workplace culture, and lead with intentionality. Whether you are a seasoned executive, an aspired leader, or just someone passionate about positivity in the workplace, this podcast is for you. Each week, I'll bring you conversations with thought leaders, experts, and trailblazers that will share with you their insights, wisdom, and experiences so that you can apply these practical tips to your leadership journey. Get ready to explore topics like inclusive leadership, women's empowerment, effective communication, and so much more. If you're ready to lead intentionally and make lasting impact in your organization, you are in the right place. Let's embark in this transformative leadership journey together. This is Leading Intentionally. Let's dive in. Welcome to today's episode of Leading Intentionally. I am so excited to have with us today a very special guest. Her name is Nicole Cruz, and she's a certified life and leadership coach and the CEO of Nicole Cruz Coaching, one of the first coaching companies to cater specifically to the needs of first and second generation immigrants. And through culturally informed leadership coaching, she helps folks with immigrant roots break generational cycles and become powerful leaders. Over the last 5 years, she has worked with hundreds of immigrants and immigrant descendants, building her business with traveling full time over 30 countries. She's also a TEDx speaker, the daughter of Filipino immigrants, a 90s hip hop diehard, and currently resides in Washington, D.C. Welcome, Nicole. How are you doing?
Thanks so much for having me, Carmen. I'm doing well. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I am so excited that you decided to come in the show. I met Nicole in person. She's a bundle of joy, and I was so excited to connect with her. And I love to talk about this topic because, I mean, if it's not obvious with my accent, I am an immigrant. And through my leadership career, I definitely feel like, it's been a little harder than it should have been.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say that it's because of that, but I definitely know that it had something to do with it. So before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and how did you land it here?
Sure. Yeah. I'm the daughter of Filipino immigrants, and my leadership coaching is a second career for me. I spent over a decade in the corporate space within corporate health insurance, doing program management. And it sounds like similar to you, Carmen. I experienced kind of the one of only experience in a corporate workspace where I was the only woman of color, only Asian woman on teams of predominantly white older men for over a decade. And so that's why I have so much passion in what I do now in supporting other leaders of color to become fully themselves at work, because I experienced a lot of having to hide parts of myself in order to kind of get ahead in the corporate workplace. So that's a very brief part of my story. But yeah, this is a second career. I really wanted to create a lifestyle of freedom and impact in the way that I like providing impact. And I decided I don't know if I was delusional, but I was like, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to support a specific community. And over the I'm in my 6th year of business now. So so now
Congratulations.
I'm in a place where I'm really excited to work with organizations and other leaders to support our diverse leaders of color.
And you know what? It's so needed because I remember being times where, I just wanted to get in a corner and cry.
Yes.
Uh, because, I was trying so hard, and that was probably part of the problem now that I know in retrospective. But I was trying so hard, and all I wanted was the opportunity to show that it didn't matter that I had an accent. It didn't
Mm.
matter, you know, that I'm passionate and loud and, you know,
Yeah.
too much. I've been told to be too much. Um, I just wanted to show what was in my head, how I can think. And eventually I got there, right? Like I eventually was able to find the right mentors that helped
Mhm.
me navigate that. And I have to say, they were mostly women, but I'm not gonna single them out. I did had two white male mentors that were fundamental, crucial in my career, but it was mostly women, especially at the beginning, because I came to the U.S. as an adult, and my accent, if you think it's thick now, just think 25 years ago, it was really thick, and women never had an issue understanding what I had to say, which was
Uh-huh.
mind blowing. This is not an episode about my accent. So I just wanted to say that even the smartest, most capable individuals that are in this category of immigrant, right?
Yes.
And there's Asians, there is Latinos, there is, black, like everybody who is not what you expect to see in a leadership position
Yep.
struggles with something in this dimension. And that's, the awareness that we want to bring on.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
So you mentioned in the conversations that we had previously that there are three strategies, three keys that you walk your clients into the strategies to transform leadership. And so I want to get there, but I want like to describe what in your mind is transforming leadership. What is that umbrella concept?
Mm. I love this topic, and I love that you talk about this because I think especially for diverse communities, what we have seen as leadership and what we've been taught is leadership doesn't look like us, and
Mhm.
sometimes it doesn't sound like us, right? And so when I think of transforming transformational leadership and transforming leadership, it's really transforming what leadership has to look and sound like,
Mhm.
so that we get to benefit from the diversity of backgrounds and perspectives and cultures, um, that in organizations, so that the organizations are really representative of the people that they're serving.
I absolutely love that. It's so true. And I have so much to say, but I know that we're gonna get into that when we talk about the specific points. So what are the steps? What are the steps to transform leadership in organizations?
So I work a lot with with individual leaders, and
Mhm.
what they come to me with is kind of a lack of confidence in themselves as leaders. And so I kind of support them through three phases of really identifying as a leader. And so the first step is to really challenge what their ideas of what leadership has to look and sound like, and unlearn the lessons that we've been taught of you need to be loud, you need to show up in this way, you need to, have all the answers, and to really challenge yourself to break the rules of what you've been taught leadership needs to look like. Because for a lot of, and all of the people that I serve, they identify as more quiet, more introverted, more like observant, where they want to be more collaborative instead of like thinking they have to have all the answers, and that can be leadership too. And
Mhm.
so really step one, unlearning what leadership needs to look and sound like, so that you can identify as a leader yourself.
Let's stop there for a second because I wanted to make sure we encompass all the backgrounds, right? Like, and maybe this is true or not, but I was thinking when you started talking about this that yeah, because I am loud. I am so loud. I need to talk. I need to say what I say. There's no. I need to just get it out. But I'm also very loving because it's my culture, right?
Mm,
Like,
yeah.
and there's all this stigma with what you can and cannot do, and you have to be smart about it, and you need to have permission, authorization, and whatnot. But like, I am, I like to be close to people. It's just the Latino culture, right? But
Yeah.
I can also see, like you're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, because she comes from the Asian culture where it's different, right? It's more quiet, it's more reserved.
Hmm.
And so at the same time, I was thinking there is the foundation of, the background, the diverse background. But then when you add to that, like the cherry on top, when you're a woman, on top of that,
Yep.
there's so much to unlearn because the
Yes.
people that we see and we follow, and they are the great leaders of the world, they're mostly men. And so it's like, how do you do that? Right? Like, so yes, they're unlearning. Do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, that's so like there's so many layers of identity and intersectionality, right? And even just taking like, the fact that you're like a Latina woman, I'm an Asian woman, and there's some similarities we share, but then there's also some differences, right?
Mhm.
Of like the role that I'm supposed to play and the stereotypes around Asian women and the stereotypes around Latino women and having to battle against that
Mhm.
as you're challenging yourself to show up in the way that you want to. Um, it can be a lot of work, which is why there's coaches like us, right?
Yes.
To support people through that. Um, and I would say for those of you who are listening to this and be like, oh my gosh, I that does sound like a lot of work, but I feel that I really want to be a leader. I just want to offer like there's a reason you feel that way.
Mhm.
And to listen to it. And that there's a community of people like us who are really wanting to change what leadership needs to look like.
Yeah. And leadership is such a rewarding career. And it's a vocation. It's a
Mm,
vocation. Like, and this is one of the issues and problems I see with leadership today is that people get thrown into this role even if they don't want to. And so I think this kind of mirrors with your second step,
yeah.
right? Which is
Yeah. So the second step is to really connect to your why and why
Mhm.
leadership is important for you. I think with a lot of the clients that I work with, very ambitious, very like high achieving, very driven, but it's almost like ambitious without knowing why or
Mhm.
knowing what
Mhm.
that ambition is for. And
Mhm.
so, one thing that I like to support my clients with is identifying, like, okay, you want to be a leader and you want to get promoted, you want to take that next step, but what are you leading people towards?
Mhm.
What are you a leader of? Why is it important for you? Instead of just kind of blindly, well, it just makes sense for me to get to the next step of my career, and that's what this looks like. But
Because many
okay,
organizations, the way they have the career path is, you max out as an individual contributor at certain point, and then you have to take a leadership
yeah,
role if you want to make more money.
right.
And some people are just not fitted to be in a leadership role, and there
Oh
should be
yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
It's just like some people are not fitted to be parents.
Yeah.
And you know what? And but society has taught us that we have to get married and have kids,
Mhm.
right? And so, like my little sister, like she says she's never gonna have kids, and I'm like, kudos to you, because she
Yeah.
still lives back home. She still lives in Panama, and she's not, submerged with the culture and the pressure that she needs to go and recreate. When, thank God. I mean, she's a doctor, but still, like,
Yeah.
you know. And so, same thing with leadership. It's is work because you're always, if you do it right, you care about your people. It's like your children, right? Like you're like their parent and you care about them and you worry about what
Yeah.
happened. But if you're coming from the right place, it's so rewarding when you see them, go through high school. I'm a
Yeah.
it's like, please graduate from high school. The same
Yeah.
thing with your employees. Like, you see them become, senior managers, directors. It's so rewarding. So
Yes.
yeah. So then
Yes.
what?
And I think also the connecting to with your deeper why, right? Instead of just like, well, I get more money this way.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
there's a connecting with, well, this is the kind of impact I want to make, or I want to be in, a decision making position to really change things up here. Whatever that deeper why is, that is going to help you get through the difficult times much more than like, well, I just need to get through this in order to get the paycheck, right?
Yeah.
It's going to help you like, okay, I'm really being asked to advocate for myself and my team. Why is that important for me? Why am I going to put myself in the uncomfortable position of doing that? And you draw from your deeper why in that point.
Mhm. And do you have tips for the audience to get to that? I mean, I know it's more than one session, it's more than one conversation,
Yeah.
but like, how can people start like contemplating on that question?
Yeah. So I think it's a really simple question, just asking yourself, what about being a leader is important to me?
Mhm,
And then continuing to dig deeper. So once you get that answer, okay, why is that important to you? Then why is that important to you? So you just really get to the root of it, rather than, this is the logical next step of my career, or this is what I'm supposed to be doing. It really gets to what about it is important for
mhm.
you instead of, you know, the paycheck or the status, right? Which I hate. I'm all a fan for a bigger paycheck.
Oh yeah, I mean, I mean, we
Yeah.
all love money, so
Yeah.
there's no. But I totally, yeah, I like that because I remember, like, you look back at my career, and I have launched, multi-million dollar products. I
Yeah.
have closed, huge negotiations, $500,000 negotiations. But when I look back, that's not the most rewarding thing I did. The
Mm,
most rewarding thing I did is to lead. Like, I really enjoy having my one-on-ones with my teams and my team
yeah.
meetings, and getting to know these people and seeing their growth. Like, that really lit me up. And I don't know that because we didn't know before, so I didn't have this question, but I think I did it subconsciously. Like, why I like this so much is because I got to impact people's life.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do as a leader. You
Yes.
really can mess someone up, or you can impact someone's life.
Yeah.
And when you understand that responsibility, it's a responsibility, right? It's like you spend 8 hours at least at the office
Mhm.
or virtually talking to somebody. And I know like how many people like dread to go into meetings with the leaders, like,
Yeah.
because you don't know what you're gonna get, or whatnot. And it's so nice when they feel comfortable, open, and you have that good relationship, because you spend so much part of your life working, so might as well enjoy it.
Yes, yes. And it's so interesting, like when you are experiencing good leadership, how much it really allows you to like really be powerful,
Mhm.
like take risks to put
Mhm.
your ideas out there. So I love that, part of your wise, the impact that you can make on people's lives, and it is
Mhm.
significant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when you've been a good leader, when you move on in your career, you go to another job, another company or whatever, and the people still want to talk to you. They still check on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like tomorrow, I'm going to lunch with one of my old employees, and next
I love
week I'm
it.
going to lunch with another one. And it's like, they want to see how you do. And I have leaders like that. I have
Yeah.
leaders that it's like, hey, let's go have coffee, let's go have a drink or something,
Yeah.
because they made a big impact in my life, and I want to think it was the same for my employees. So it's
Yeah.
it's it's so rewarding, and I think being connected with that why definitely is what ignites that.
I love that.
So then we have a third step. What is the third step?
So the third step that I support my clients through is to identify and embody your version of leadership,
Mm.
right? Not trying to put on someone else's version of leadership is like a costume and putting it on, but really starting to see yourself as the leader you want to be. And that I find is where the imposter syndrome comes up,
Mhm, mhm,
where like these ideas of how we need to act come up. So really defining what that version of your leadership is and taking small steps to identify as that person. So a small step or a small challenge that I ask my clients to do is to pick a day next week
Mhm,
where they show up as that leader that they want to be. Maybe that means like they dress differently. Maybe
mhm,
it looks
mhm,
like them actually, disagreeing in a meeting. Maybe it looks like them going out of their way to really support one of their colleagues and mentor them,
mhm.
just so that you can try it on and see how it feels to already be that version of you that is possible for you.
Yeah.
Um, and I find like the more that you identify and really practice as that leader, the easier it is for you to really just step into it instead of feeling like, well, I am not worthy of it or I need to do something else in order to be there. Like, what if you can already be that leader now?
And I mean, you open the door for my esoteric side here. I mean, that's how you bring into your life anything you want. You have to become
Yes.
the essence of what you want already. And I remember, like me, like not even being a leader, but being like the senior person as an individual contributor, and me playing pretend to be the boss, right? And like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna have like, at this level team meetings just so we can support each other. And I will pull like leadership cards. This is like 25 years ago. I will pull like leadership cards of like, let's meditate,
I
on
love it.
this quote and how can we be better. And and yeah, it's like you have to like play pretend and you are that person.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you already brought in that different flavor of leadership, back then of, hey, let's do things a little bit differently. Let's think about things a little differently.
Oh, I don't
Uh,
fit in any mold.
yes. Yeah. And that's exactly, as leaders, I really feel like it's our responsibility to show up fully with who we are. Because we're not trying to, especially as people in marginalized communities, we're not trying to replicate what's already been out there, right?
Mhm,
We're
mhm,
trying to be ourselves and really challenge the status quo of
mhm.
what leadership has been or what it's looked like. And so, in order to do that, we get to show up as who we are. There's going to be a lot of people who are into it. There's going to be some people who aren't. But instead of trying to like shapeshift into a mold that doesn't fit, like just being more of yourself and allowing the power of that to really impact people.
Yeah. And I think about this a lot because companies might not see the impact of this.
Yeah.
And I can it's obvious how we who are experiencing this, in the flesh and body.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, yes, Nicole, that totally resonates with me. Or yes, Carmen, that totally resonates with me. But it's like, how do I get my company to support that? Well, I have news for companies.
Yeah.
And it's that when you think about your market growth, and I'm using my product hat here right now. When you're thinking about your market growth, you know, the current market that you have is tapped. So you need to expand to new communities, which are Hispanic, Asian, right?
Mhm.
And guess what? We don't think the same way that most people think. And so if you want to really get to the core of the need of the gap that a product needs to fill, you need to have people in the decision making, in the development, in the strategy that think like that market that you want to go get.
Exactly. 100%. I mean, all of this, I mean, I think it might sound like really nice and fluffy and like, oh, feel good, but there's actual concrete outcomes,
Mhm.
when you engage your employees, when you provide them support where they feel seen and supported in their full identities. There was, so I primarily work with AAPI folks,
Mhm.
Asian American Pacific Islander. And there was a study where they found that 56% of API employees feel disengaged at
Mhm.
work and not supported. 56%,
It's a
which is a
lot.
lot.
Mhm.
Um, and that has direct outcomes to productivity and performance and like company loyalty. And so I love that you brought it up. Like, this isn't just a feel good thing. This has this has really tangible impact on businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wrote a post last week, 2 weeks ago, from the moment we're recording this, uh, that diversity is here. Like, there, you cannot do anything about it. And we just talking before we started recording. Like, I just was thinking about my kids. You
Hmm.
know, I have never thought about the fact that they are half Latinos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though they don't look like it, they're half Latinos.
Yeah.
And what they have seen me go through, and the way I show up, and and work, still that work hard mentality that I'm trying so hard to to change, but still that work hard mentality that they don't see on their dad, because he doesn't
Mm.
have to, right? He doesn't
Yeah.
have to prove anything.
Yeah.
um and so the diversity is here to stay. When you look like 2030, half of the workforce is not only going to be, Gen Zs and all the crazy stuff coming, but it's going to be also totally diverse.
Yes.
So now, what do we do as companies to really play inclusion? Because this is what we're talking about here. It's not let me check the box with inclusion here.
Mm-hmm.
Inclusion is more than that. Inclusion is really to change from within. And this is what Nicole does with her coaching and her practice.
Yeah.
And so it's something to think about. It's like, yeah, the problem, the age where, we only have small percentage of people that didn't fit the mold, it's not here anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. And the companies that have really thrived are the companies that, it, like you said, it's not just like a box to check off. Like, okay,
Mhm.
we've hired more people that are from different backgrounds. It's like, and we've set up support that really like meets them where they are, that
Mhm.
takes their identities into account. It's not just like, let me just hire more people without putting
Yeah.
in systems and support that actually supports them throughout the company. Uh, and yeah, like you said, it's diversity has always been here, and now, um, I love that more organizations are looking at this as a way to really support their employees instead of
Mhm.
a checkbox. To
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful. So, Nicole, is there anything that you want to say to, close the conversation about this topic? And also, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I loved our conversation. I know you and I could talk about this
Oh
for
my
for
God.
hours. So if you're interested in learning more about my work, you can visit my website at NicoleCruzCoaching.com. I'm also on Instagram at Nicole Cruz Coaching. And really, I really appreciate you, Carmen, bringing
Mm.
these topics to the forefront, to really have these conversations that might be new to people, and to just let people know, especially if you identify from a diverse community, that there are folks out here who really are invested in your success and really want to support you in becoming the leader that you're meant to. Because I know, at least from my end, my ultimate sneaky like goal with this is I really want to disrupt and dismantle some systems that
Mhm.
haven't been supporting all communities. And the way to do that is to really support the people into decision making positions,
Mhm.
to be able to make some changes for the better of everyone.
Yes, I cannot support the mission more, because that is part of my sneaky goal as well. And thank you for, the compliments. And I am so happy because I have gotten not a lot of people comment on the actual podcast itself. Sorry, I have hair here. Uh, but I've gotten a lot of like private messages, like of leaders,
Yeah.
many of them males, many of them Caucasian,
Mm,
that say, "Oh, you made me think today about this thing."
I love that.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, okay, check for me. It's like,
Yeah.
check. If I can impact one person's leadership style and just get them to think, it's like how you see the other person on the side. I have done my work here.
Yes, that's amazing. This is like a group effort. We need allies. So I love that like even a small shift can make a big impact.
Yes. Well,
Yay.
thank you so much, Nicole, for delighting us today with this topic, for allowing me to, talk about one of the things I like to talk about the most. And best of luck. And we're going to put all her information in the description of the podcast. So don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends so people can impact lives through leadership. And until the next episode, don't forget to lead intentionally.